I'd like to welcome y'all to the 4D v19 R4 feature release webinar. And this is something that we really like to do. And this is a webinar where we're going to review all of the main features that are in v19 R4, 4D v19 R4. And the way it goes is there's a few different kind of topic subjects that we like to review with you. Some developer news, some deployment news, 4D Write Pro, 4D View Pro, 4D Mobile, etc. And think of those as chapters. And at the end of each, or sections, and at the end of each section, we will answer your questions and answers that are kind of pertain to the features at hand. Anything that's kind of TAO related, bug report, anything like that, we're not going to address in this. We'd like you to reach out to the team and the tech support team. And so, yeah. So, and feel free if any questions come up that pertain to the 19R4 feature release, by all means, put your questions in the Q&A section. That way, and not the chat section. Why we like the Q&A section is because that stores the questions are stored, and we know what we answered and what we didn't answer, and we can make sure that we're answering your questions. And if we don't know the answer, we use that and we look back in it to go back and reach out to you to discuss it further. So hopefully we'll be able to answer our questions, especially knowing the fact that I'm joined today by Komoncharoensiri, who is the Director of Technical Services at 4D Inc., 4D US. And he'll help me. He's here to help me and to keep me honest when I say things, and to make sure that I don't say just whatever. And me, my name is Will Taylor. I'm the Technical Account Manager, and I head up the Professional Services team and initiative in the US. And yeah, so without further ado, let's quickly get started. Oh, and if you haven't done so, I see there's some people with only their first name or some sort of other name in their Zoom name. If you ask a question and we're not able to get back to, we don't know your last name, or you didn't put your name in the in Zoom, we're not going to be able to necessarily reach out to you. So if you wouldn't mind putting your first name and last name in the Zoom, so that way we can reach out to you. So let's get going. First thing I like to do, most of you are developers, and this is the stuff that really concerns you. So these are the developer news, and these are the new things that we feel will help your lives as developers in 4D v19 R4. So we've listened to your feature requests on the 4D forum and made several improvements to the 4D language. Starting with the statement that allows you to skip the block of code, the return keyword terminates execution of the method or function in which it appears and returns control to the calling method. You can also return an optional value, like what we have here in a function, returns an integer. Of a factorial, so something that does a factorial, if the number that you're trying to do zero factorial is by definition 1, so we go from there, -1 or things like that. So the break keyword terminates the loop is also an addition, and that terminates the loop that contains it. So as you see here, in the second piece of code, we have a break statement in the for loop, and if a certain condition is met, then then it's going to kick you out of the loop. So the following statement is executed immediately after the part of the loop, and then the continue statement ends the execution of the statement in the current iteration of the loop and continues the execution of the loop with its next iteration. So these are all really cool and powerful commands that people have been asking for. And I'm happy to say that they're now in 4D, so use them. have fun. Going on. And then also there's been an update in 40 language, and that's we've added compound assignment operators. So a new way to do simple arithmetic. And now you're all 40 people, so this may not be something you care about, as you could always do your arithmetic in 4D. You'd write A equals A plus 1. You didn't ever really needed to write A plus equals 1. But think about any new 4D developer that's come into 4D. It's a relief to know that they have this sort of availability. And the same with breaks, returns, and continues. Those are all things that people that are taken from, those are all great ideas that are taken from other programming languages, and now we have them in 4D as well. So super cool modern things. And also in 4019R4, there is a new way to assign values to variables with ternary operators. Now, as you could, so both code snippets are the same, left and right, but the left, as you can see, is much more concise. So this is just a new way to do assignment operators based on specific conditions in your application. And now a note here, since 4019R4, because it now supports this colon, the colon in the ternary operator, people are no longer allowed to use colons in their variable, field, constant, plugins, or project names. It's now a reserved character. So please, if you use colons in variables, functions, names, for whatever reason, I recommend you will need to change that in order to move to 4019R4. And then for more information about other changes and things like that, I always invite you to look at the documentation with the release notes for more information about that. So, and 40 has also implemented another great idea in 19R4, short circuit evaluation. And this is using the double ampersand and double bar characters for the and or characters, respectively. So in an expression that uses an or operator, a short circuit evaluation means that the second argument is executed or evaluated only if the first argument does not suffice to determine the value of the expression. So what that means is, in the first if statement here, you have something and something. So if something and something, that means, so if that's going to be true, both the first argument and the second argument need to be true. Before, what happened in 4D is that they would both be executed. And then if they're both of their states were true, then it would call some code. Now it says, it checks the first one. So if that's false, well, there's no reason to check the second one because the whole thing is false. So now you can, this is going to be a large, this has been a major feature that has been requested, and it can be, and the fact that, yeah, this can change a lot of code. You don't have to use case statements anymore, or switched or things. So, or ifs or nested ifs or things like that. So have a look at that, see how that can be used. It should be a total space and time. It should be a time saver for your application. So another highly requested feature is available for you. Sometimes you need to run a process in the background externally to 4D and perform certain actions based on the output code when the external process finishes. For example, displaying a progress bar. With 4D, you can start an external background process with a new 4D.SystemWorker class and automatically execute callback methods when the external process returns the information. So if you want to use this in an interface, the interface remains responsive to your user while the external process is running, and when it finishes, you can show your client the result. So why is this cool? Many of you are saying you could always run a launch external process in both asynchronous mode or synchronous mode. Asynchronous mode means that it would block the execution of your code, of your application, or asynchronous mode, you could always run a launch external process in an asynchronous manner, but not if you care, but you were never able to retrieve the status when it was finished. So it'd be kind of set it and forget it. But but now you can both launch your code, launch an external process asynchronously, and do something based on that, based on the output of that code. And here's a quick demo. So here we have a picture, and I'm going to use a SIP command here. I'm going to call launch external process, and it's going to call SIP command. Take some time to do picture processing, and here I'll do some image conversioning, and you'll see kind of how it works. So here we go. Here's the picture. Click picture info, grabs the info. Okay. I got the info, and then I'm going to do a bunch of image conversions, and that takes time. There you go. So now I have the time, and now we can do it. So super cool. So 40 v19 R4 comes with a new ORDA concept, aliases. They're the logical and complementary continuation of calculated attributes. Now, as the name suggests, an alias is a shortcut to an existing data store object. And like computed attributes, they are defined in the entity data class. And while a computed attribute can handle any computation or formula, an alias is simply a shortcut that makes your development faster and easier. An example of using aliases is to easily access linked attributes from your data. So which means hiding the complexity of the linked database. Now here, so here in this example here, we have a really simple data. We have a really simple database. People can be students or professors or both, all right? And can learn and can teach and learn languages. And lessons is the core data class that links the people, students and teachers, and the language. So here we can use this quick example. We can extend the lessons entity data class, and we can call professor name. We can alias professor name to be professor.name, the name of the professor following the link and getting into the other table. Or we can do a little bit more complicated. We can extend the people entity class, and we can use aliases to traverse all around our data structure. And so both of these are returning entity selections, or returning entities. That doesn't have to be the case. We can also return scalars here as well. And if you're interested in this, I invite you to read the blog, not the blog post, the developer.40.com post, and it'll do a really good overview of how it can be used and why. So classes were introduced with 40 v18 R3. They allow you to organize your business logic and separate it from user interface in a more efficient manner. Classes consist of several functions of different lengths. Therefore, it's not always easy to find out which function you're looking for or to hop around from one function to the other. Now, it is now possible to use the Explorer that displays classes and functions. Okay, sorry. It's possible to use the Explorer to display the classes and functions, and then use that to then double click in the Explorer, and then that opens up the code editor at the appropriate location. But if you're programming only in the code editor, that may not be something you want to do, switch between the windows. So in 19R4, the list of functions in your class is displayed in the code editor toolbar, as you can see here. So you can quickly jump to a specific function. Get full name. So more productivity for you. And 40 v19 r4 takes comments to a new level with comment tags to better organize your comments. Now, tags are used to classify comments by simply placing a tag at the beginning of the comment line. We have provided these 3 tags for you to use: mark, to do, and fix me. Now, these commands are here to help you stay more organized, and we love them here at 4D and feel you will too. And have a look at the blog post for some great use cases of these tags. So a wise man once said, if you make one mistake and don't correct it, you'll make another. To prevent this from happening to 4D developers, we have always built techniques into the code editor to help you avoid mistakes. For example, auto-completion for classes has been available since 18R4. This feature simplifies the writing of the code and limits errors of the function names, but it doesn't avoid them completely. And it's easy to swap 2 letters or forget to capitalize a letter. And then you spend a lot of time trying to figure out why your code doesn't work. Total bummer, right? So what better way than to ask 4D to check if the classes or functions exist before? Now, starting in 40 v19 r4, a warning is displayed in the code editor if you call a function that doesn't exist. Try it out. I'm sure we'll all try this out as we're working. So have fun testing it. Hopefully you never need to test it, but I know I will. And we have something new in the code editor. In addition to customizing the window in the code area in the code editor preferences, 4019 also offers 2 new ways of customizations, or 2 changes in the code editor. Now you can show or hide those 10 clipboards at the top, and the show and hide list icons has been moved now to the bottom right there of your code. So if you're looking for that in 40 v19 r4, there you go. Look no further, look in the bottom right. On to deployment news. So you asked for it and we delivered. We now have 4K support in Windows. This has been a feature in 40 Mac for quite some time, but it wasn't possible in Windows until very recently for 4D. So this is great. Now your Windows applications can look amazing, sharp in your in your 4K monitors. Too many fours. And I guess that means that y'all need to go out and get some really big 4K monitors to test out your application. But also, please remember that changing to 4K requires you to fully review and test your application to ensure that it still looks good. So if you're having issues, I invite you to reach out to the blog. To check out the blog. There are some known cases of things that need to be done. For example, picture files that need to be done, and in developer.4d.com, there's a really good discussion about why how big of an impact pixel size can have in your application. And if you're still having issues, please reach out to your local tech support team. And 4019 R4 comes with a new command that provides all the information about your license usage. Get license usage. And we've also extended your license usage into the diagnostics log. So thanks to this feature, you'll be able to track license usage on your server, optimize your license usage, and plan for your future needs. So super cool command. And sometimes users need multiple instances of your double clickable application, but with different settings, right? And this can be difficult if for a vertical market application, that may have many clients that each connect their own server. So now you can build an application once and then define which server your application will connect to. Now, if you're interested in this, I invite you to check out the blog. If you have a vertical market application that you use, I invite you to check out the blog. It gives a really good overview of this feature. So next, I'd like to talk about the 40 for mobile news. And 40 for mobile, is, if we remember, is 40 for iOS and 40, what we're calling 40 for iOS and 40 for Android. And those are our, this 40 technology that you can use to create simply native mobile applications. So up until now, you could have all sorts of data displayed in your 40 for mobile project. You could have text, date, time, integers, what have you. But now 40 v19r4 brings another possibility of putting object attributes into your 40 for a mobile application. And you can display your object attributes. This allows you to display your object attributes in your mobile application in either human readable form or in the JSON format. Now, object fields are used to store various data in your 40 application, and now they are easy to use in your mobile application as well. And what this means for you is that you can create more advanced iOS and Android apps. Now with 40 v19r4, the data panel of the 40 for mobile editor has been improved to give you more information about the data that you'll be packaging into your mobile application. For example, you get the exact number of entities and the data size for each data class to avoid getting too much data in your mobile application. Now, this enhancement also helps you to check the validity of your queries by checking it with the validate button. This means that you get more visual feedback about the validation of your queries with error messages if the query is not correct. So you see we're going to make a query right now. We're going to see, and we'll be able to check it with the validation button. Boom. Model Clio. It's not something we have in the US. Citroen car. Very cool. So many improvements have been incorporated into 40 for Android with v19r4. Support from one-to-n relations, online actions, and object fields being formatting, and the list goes on and on, as you can see here. And knowing that, if you have an idea for a project, please do not hesitate to contact your account manager. We're working with many developers on their project ideas to help them develop them as easily as possible using the 40 for mobile technology. So if you have an idea on a way to extend your current 40 enterprise application to native mobile devices, natively to mobile devices, let us know and we can help you out. We're always interested to have that conversation with you. And we work with the team, we work with the product owners what we've done in the past is people needed X, Y, and Z features, and then we were able to put that into the top of the backlog because we love it when people use 40 for mobile to make their applications. So now on to 40 Write Pro news. So 40 v19r4 comes with new attributes to better define the layout of your tables. And this allows you to create beautiful 40 Write Pro documents with ease, especially ones that contain complex tables in them. Now, if you're interested in this feature, I invite you to read the blog. There's a great how do I that illustrates this functionality. See, we have a large table in a 40 Write Pro area. And there's a ton of different attributes that you can set on the fly in order to make sure that your document looks like it should. Cool. And with 4019 R4, 40 Write Pro has gone dark. You can develop and deliver in light or dark mode now on Mac OS. The latest widgets in the library are also in dark mode compatible on Mac OS. That's the toolbar, the ribbon, the sidebar rich text area, etc. And this is all done programmatically. It doesn't pull in the system settings. So my system is set in dark mode. If I don't change anything, 40 does not pull in a dark mode version automatically. I have to set it myself. And you heard me, and you may have heard me, but I'd like to kind of underline this thing. This is a Mac OS only feature. There is not currently 4D Write Pro dark mode support on Windows. There are many reasons for this, but mainly the way in which it would need to be done. It's a massive effort for the engineering team to do it. It's a major thing. So on to 40 View Pro news. Do you want me to
go ahead?
So when you create a document with 40 View Pro, it is often necessary to optimize the user experience by hiding and fine-tune the user experience by hiding worksheet tabs or scroll bars, disabling the context menu, playing with drag and drop, etc. So all these features and more are now available in the VP set workbook options command. And these are commands that were available with the spread.js commands before, but now they're being exposed clearly in 4D commands. So much more easy to use for you. So here we have the tab strips. So the tab strips are the strips at the bottom, and you can hide them or keep them there as you see fit. And now you have more control from 4D of the scroll bars. You have a scroll bar, horizontal, vertical. You can show it or not show it, the horizontal or the vertical scroll bar. Or you can show them in the max. So just ways in which you can show your scroll bars. And the setting of background images and colors is now very simple in 4D, like in this following demo. So now we can add a background image using a 4D command. We have a couple different things. We can zoom it, center it, stretch it out. And here on the side, you have what we call the gray area. And now you can make the gray area other colors, which maybe isn't the best name for it if it can be other colors, but and you can also set the background colors to be of the cells to be other colors as needed to make a lovely 40 View Pro document. Not that this one is. And you are now able to control the column and row resizing in your 40 View Pro area, like in the following demo, using the split command. This is something a little bit different. I didn't know about this until seeing this demo, and it's interesting. So you can resize a column, right? And you see A grows, but B stays the same. And if you call split on it, now if you resize A, B then goes the same. And you can also do it for rows as well, and the same as for columns. So this idea of split. And now there are many more copying and pasting options. So you can set when you copy a cell, you can see there's the green dashed line. Now you can say that line is going to be green or red, depending on what you want. Black, and then if you copy around a few times, you can see it just goes through. And now the highlighted background is now black. And as you see in this gray area, this is out. So we have a 20 by H document. And if you paste in more information and you click extend the paste, it'll actually grow your document to the size that it needs to be done, both width or length. So what went from 20 by H is now 389 by I. So super cool. And I invite you to read this is only the tip of the iceberg. These are just the main ones, the ones that are really easy to demo and to discuss and show that and things that I find to be interesting for me. But there can be many other features that you may find interesting for your specific solution. And I invite you to read the developer.40.com documentation about all of these workbook options. And creating reports and spreadsheets from existing templates speeds up development. And say you have some sweet portion of a spreadsheet that you want to use in other pieces of other 40 View Pro documents. And before this was possible, but you need to export the 40 View Pro document into an object, read through it, kind of take what you wanted, and insert that into the appropriate location in another 40 View Pro document manually. Woof. Well, now you can simply copy portions of a 40 View Pro document and insert them into other 40 View Pro documents with these commands: move cells, VP copied object, and paste from object. It's a very powerful command should help you to speed up 40 View Pro development. And it's just one more news that's a major piece of 19R4 that I wanted to kind of discuss today. And that is hot fixes for feature releases. Now, you should have seen the post on the blog, but if you haven't, not a problem. I'm here to discuss it today. And so here at 4D, we love feature releases and would love all of our developers to develop and deploy with them. And one main reason that we hear from our developers that don't use them is that if there is a major issue in the deployment of a certain feature release, then you need to wait 3 months to get the fix. Well, you no longer have that excuse. Starting from 40 v19 R4, there will be hot fixes for feature releases as well. Now, this should allow 40 developers to deliver to their customers faster and increase the adoption rate of feature releases even more. Now, how will this work? Say we delivered 4019 R4 in April. Okay, 19 R4 hotfix 1 will be delivered in May. 19 R4 hotfix 2 will be delivered in June. And 19 R5, right on schedule, will be delivered in July. Now in August, we will deliver, you guessed it, 19 R5 hotfix 1. So as you can see, the cycle for feature releases hasn't changed, and the LTS version cycle rhythm will not change as well. And as you can see, the bugs that will be fixed are critical bugs, right? Bugs that are generally linked to the deployment of an application. Deployments. That blockers from deployment. I invite you to read up on this, read the blog. The blog is where I get all the information about these new features, where I start my journey about learning about new features and feature releases. And then I complete that, and I continue that with the documentation, developer.40.com, and of course, kb.40.com for the knowledge base. And I want to say thank you all for all of your questions, your participation. It's really fun to do this, and it helps me learn and expand my knowledge about 4D in our current and what's happening and all the massive changes that are happening in 4D.